Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, you can argue it both ways. One thing is certain, though. People in Arkansas have a good thing going with their chickens. And turkeys, too. In fact, Arkansas today is the leading state in poultry production, with most of the activity in the northwest part of the state. But it wasn't always that way. The first people of Arkansas, Native Americans of the Osage, Quapaw, and Caddo tribes, kept fowl for eggs, and of course hunted the wild turkey for meat and feathers. The settlers who followed, both white and Cherokee, also hunted, but a pioneer family usually had a few hens for eggs. The first real farming of commercial value in northwest Arkansas was fruit, and when the railroads came in, tons of Arkansas apples and peaches went out, shipped north to Kansas City, St. Louis, and Chicago. Some of these fruit growers also dabbled in chickens.
Well, John Tyson started our company back in 1935. We celebrated our 50th year last year. Started from being a produce buyer and seller, had an old truck, moved here from Kansas, was buying strawberries, apples, and that sort of thing was growing in this area at that time. In the spring of the year, of course, the farmers' wives would have some what they call springers, or broiler chickens, and he would buy a few coops of live spring chickens and load on his same truck with his apples and strawberries, and was hauling to the markets of Kansas City, St. Louis, and Chicago. He found that he made a little bit more money on the chickens than he did on the produce, and with the foresight that he had, he came home and tried to encourage the farmers to grow more chickens, and that was actually the start of Tyson Foods as far as the poultry business was concerned.
John Tyson, Jeff Brown, Charles George, and a handful of others saw the potential for expanding the chicken industry.
After he and my mother got married, they bought a fruit farm out here southwest of Springdale, and he liked chickens, and he got to raising them and mixing his own feeds, and some of his neighbors wanted to get some chickens, and they wanted feed, so he'd mix feed in the barn with a shovel. And that's sort of how the thing got started. Just more and more people kept wanting his services and products, and he finally opened up a business in Springdale itself. He put in a hatchery, a small electric hatchery, which was incidentally the first electric hatchery in the state of Arkansas. This was in 1929.
The Arkansas poultry industry got an early helping hand from the University of Arkansas, where researchers helped develop better birds and better feed.
Poultry research at the University of Arkansas has been going on for many, many years. The early studies began, in fact, in the 1920s. At that time, of course, the poultry industry was certainly nothing like we know it today. It was basically small backyard flocks. Chicken was virtually a rarity on the dinner table. But even in those days, poultry research was taking place at the University of Arkansas, looking at things such as better flock health, which certainly in those days was quite a major factor because we didn't have the knowledge of the diseases that we know today.
Well, much of it was this. There was a considerable amount of development taking place at that time, especially in nutrition. This was when they were beginning to unravel what the vitamins would do for chickens, and the combinations of energy and calorie or in proteins and so forth in the feeds. They made some big strides in nutrition at this time, but they also made considerable changes in the equipment and housing. We went from the small houses of 500 to 1,000 chickens per house, and we even went up to as much as 10,000 chickens per house at that time.
The only thing you had to work for was cheaper cost. And because of this, there was a lot of boom and bust years back in the early years of the broiler industry, feast or famine, peaks and valleys. This caused the little feed dealers, the little hatchery operators, some tremendous financial situations, and in turn created what we now know as total integration. Whereas back in the early years, you'd have one little fellow who had a feed store, another one who had a little hatchery, selling to the individual farmers, and then the processor buying it from the farmer, who in turn would process the birds and sell them into the marketplace. There just wasn't enough profit in those early years of production-oriented situations for each and every one to make a fair return on an invested dollar.
It wasn't until the end of the Second World War that poultry started to really boom. A small operation such as Brown's, Tyson's, and George's grew to be a new type of business. Now, for the first time, the companies provided the birds, the feed, and even the natural gas to heat the much larger chicken houses. Now the grower concentrated on raising the chickens to market size and was paid by contract according to his success. Today, the importance of the poultry industry in Arkansas is second to none.
Well, certainly the poultry industry has contributed markedly to the economic growth of Arkansas, and certainly as we see it today, particularly in the agricultural community, the poultry industry contributes almost 40% of the total agricultural income in the state of Arkansas, just looking at farm gate sales.
We've seen the growth of chicken and the growth of poultry as far as consumption continue to grow, and with that, of course, there's more dollars. Tyson alone is the largest single employer in the state of Arkansas. This is a long ways from what it was back in the early years when Mr. Tyson first started just from himself, to where today we have almost 25,000 employees, of which the majority of those are within the state of Arkansas, and of which the majority of those are in northwest Arkansas.
Success. That's what the Arkansas poultry industry is all about. Unqualified success. Success in both turkey and broiler production. In 1948, 90,000 turkeys were processed in Arkansas. In 1984, more than 14 million. Arkansas broilers? In 1935, 1,800,000 broilers were processed. By 1984, that figure had grown to 725 million, a growth rate of over 400 times. As any tourist will tell you, there's a lot more to Arkansas than poultry. But when it comes to poultry, the Arkansas poultry industry is the best there is.